up, fam? Welcome to another episode of Nomads No Worries. I'm your host, Steve.
And I am Jack. Good morning, Steve. Bright and early.
Yeah, dude. How's it going today?
Pretty good, honestly. I had a nice little morning walk. It's like this great after the rain weather kind of vibe right now, and I just love that. I love a fresh morning, you know?
I love that. My morning was, well, I started off by failing Wordle. I still play Wordle every day, and I actually failed today, which was a rough start to the morning. I don't usually fail at Wordle, so that was rough. So it can really only go up from here.
Wait, so you're saying every time you play, you guess the word right?
Yeah, well, you get 6 tries. So if anything, I'll get it in like 5 or 6, but I never, after 6, then it's like you fail. So today I did fail.
So the thing is, I've only tried Wordle like 3 times, and I failed all 3 times, and I kind of just like, all right, this game sucks. Like, maybe I wasn't in the right mindset, or like, do I need to have like a thesaurus by me or something?
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard. Like, I feel like you should try again, because that's a pretty, 0 for 3 is a pretty bad rate. I feel like you're better than that. I think you should get back on the horse.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I still have it downloaded, but yeah, I just kind of went 0 and 3 and was like, maybe my brain doesn't work this way.
Yeah,
Like,
stick to coding or whatever you do, that kind of shit.
yeah, podcasting.
Yeah, podcasting. But yeah, the word was water, which is like the easiest word ever. But I guessed hater, tater, raider, mater. I don't even know if that's a word. And cater. I was thinking aider, not otter. So I never put water.
I feel like W is a hard letter to guess.
It's true. Yeah, I don't usually fuck with W, so that's where that came in. But
and I guess I've only played it 3 times, but I really judge how tough a letter is based on like basically the Scrabble number.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. I think a W's got to be like at least a 4 or a 5. Like I think an X is like 10,
for sure. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, you probably want to guess the common letters first, like the lower scored numbers in Scrabble first, because those are going to be more common in Wordle. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, man. I mean, that kind of sucks. You know, one thing I note about you, though, is you're a big streak guy. I mean, you will do something for years as long as it keeps the streak going.
Yeah, dude. My Wordle streak is fat. I mean, let me see how many times I've played Wordle.
Okay.
I have played it 309 times.
Okay.
And that's just since I started using the app. I played on the browser version for a lot longer, so I've probably been doing it for like 600 days. And then my Duolingo streak is getting close to 1,000, Jack. It is
Jesus Christ.
961 for Duolingo.
Are we having a party with that, like, in 39 days from now?
We're doing something, yeah. And it's going to be Spanish language themed. Everything's going to be in Spanish. And I'll just translate it for everyone at the party. Be like, don't worry, I know what this means.
Or it could be even funnier if we went to Taco Bell instead. Like, that could be good, too.
Chipotle, yeah. That's kind of our vibe, so.
All right, Steve. Well, 39 days from now is Sunday, August 31st.
Okay, we'll start planning now for the party.
Yeah, because I know since you're a digital nomad, we got to kind of coordinate. It's not just as simple as going over to your house,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll plan a meetup somewhere.
Yeah.
All
okay,
right, let's do it. Okay, today we're going to be talking about tours. So Jack and I are going to talk about some of our favorite tours, maybe some of our least favorite tours. And then we got some tour tips, how to be a good tourist, how to get some good tours when you're in a new city. You want to explore, but maybe not by yourself. So we'll give you all some nomad hacks, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. Yeah, tours are a funny thing, Like I love them and I hate them.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about, right? Our favorites and least favorites, like why we like some, why we hate some, and what makes them good. So yeah, let's rip it. Jack, do you want to start with your favorite stuff?
Okay. Yeah. Now I don't like this one. Like I'm gonna complain about this tour, but I do think it was my favorite tour.
All right. Oh, I'm interested to hear this. That's
okay.
Good.
All right. I think one of my favorite tours, and I probably talked about this before, is essentially the Morocco, Marrakesh, Medina tour.
I've done the same one. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
hear it. Let's hear your experience.
Yeah, so the basically the way it works is you meet up. We had like we use this app called GuruWalk, and there was about 4 or 5 of us total. I only knew one person, and basically, the Medina in Marrakesh is this super chaotic sort of marketplace in the very middle of the city. Medina is sort of considered the old city, and that's what they call sort of the old city center in Morocco, and it's usually like heavily walled, almost like in the inner, it like windy, castle-y cobblestone streets, chaos everywhere, people yelling at you, trying to sell you everything. And the first time we ever went to this Medina, this was before the tour, was just sort of like, okay, this is like kind of wild. Like I need to like maybe I do need a guide. And so we're like, okay, the second time we're like, okay, we're going to get a guide. And it was a great experience because, even though it looked like chaos to us Westerners, the Medina had sort of, it's laid out in sections. Like there's like the metal worker section, there's like the dyes and the wool and the clothing section. There's like, I remember there's like the olive section, the food section, the haircut section, all of these different places, and is really cool to have some guy who's from there sort of walk you around and explain the different parts of the Medina. And they kind of had some people set up where you kind of talk to them and they'll let you kind of try stuff on or show them how they made the stuff they're selling. And so it was a really interesting experience just because it's just so much like sensory and crazy stuff happening around you, but you got this guy with you who is keeping you safe.
Yeah.
He is he's making sure you don't get robbed or harassed too bad. And so it made it for a pretty comfortable experience. And then by the end of it, we're just eating tons of food and trying all this stuff and talking to people. I just thought it was a great, like, immersive thing. I feel like usually when you go on tours, it's a lot of them could be like more outdoorsy, or like you're talking about museums, or going to check out different castles and things. But this was just like, all right, we're gonna take you into the chaos and I'm gonna show you what it's like, and we're gonna make sure you're gonna be okay.
My
Yeah.
guide, we did eat some of the food throughout the Medina, but
Yeah.
my guide was like, don't eat the food in the square, like the main square.
Yeah.
He's like, just don't eat the food in there. He's like, you might see people eating food at like the restaurants. He's like, but just don't eat it. He didn't really say why. He's like, just you don't want to eat that shit.
Wow, okay, because we totally did. Like, especially I feel like at night too, because it's like at night they have even more food out.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some snails and we got some juice for sure. Like the juices seem
Oh yeah.
safe, but he's like, just don't eat it at the restaurants for whatever reason. But yeah, that shit is crazy. I will say it's quite the cultural experience.
It was definitely dirty, like definitely. But I don't know, just when I get in a mode like that, it's like, okay, like is it dirt or is it seasoning?
Yeah, I mean the whole place is just
Are you
so
optimistic? You know?
right. If you see the glass half full, you just see seasoning, right? You don't see
Right.
dirt. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's
Like
so
I even
cold.
remember one time with the orange, the orange, they literally like some guy finished his cup and he poured the orange in that cup for me and gave it to me. I guess I already gave you the money.
Yeah, no, you just gotta embrace it. I think at that point, they're dirty. You just gotta get dirty with them.
Which is an interesting concept, right? Because I would consider myself to be, I don't know if I'm necessarily like a super clean person, but I generally don't like it when people eat off my plate or like drink before or after me. I'm not like super into that. I know some people like literally don't care. But then when I get into places like this, it's like I just did way more dirty stuff that I would never do at home.
Yeah, people are making the food with their bare hands. You don't know when the last time was that they washed their hands.
Do they even wash their hands?
Do they use toilet paper? I don't know.
Right. Are they using a bum gun? Like, what is their cleanliness situation? Like, how does that work, right?
You don't know their background. You don't know their resume. So yeah, it's a risk, but I'm glad you survived.
And, they got razor thin margins. You think they got enough money for soap when it's $1.50 for an orange juice? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, do they have enough money for the soap?
Yeah, maybe not, dude. Yeah, they're reinvesting all that into buying more oranges.
I mean, I did like, and now obviously we did the touristy thing with the snakes, and then I did research afterwards, and I feel bad about that, and the monkeys and stuff. But I just felt like it was just such a chaotic, interesting place where there's just it's sensory overload everywhere you go, from the people to like the buildings in Morocco are super beautiful, and just I feel like they have really good designs for their lamps or their furniture, things like that. I just thought it was such a cool place to look at and be around, but really having a guide for that situation I think made it 100 times better. Not that we couldn't have gone through without a guide, but there's just too much going on. Like, I just feel like you wouldn't get enough out of it if you didn't have someone kind of showing you the ropes at least the first time.
Yeah, I agree. And the Medina, it's so narrow. Like all the little paths and walkways are super narrow. It's easy to get lost. So yeah, being with someone who's been there before is super helpful. To take you to the lamp quarter or whatever, the auto section, whatever they have there, and whatever you want to see, they know where it's at.
Yep, 100%. Okay, Steve, let me hear about yours, man.
I think my favorite, I'm going to go with Taco Tour in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I mean, I'm a food guy. That's no secret, but the
Right.
taco tour like was just amazing. Like I've never eaten so many tacos in my life. Like by the end of it, I was so full I could hardly walk. And the taco guy, there's a million places to get tacos in Mexico, but this guy knew all the
Literally.
best spots, like all the legendary spots. He took us to this carnitas guy who I guess had been there for years and years and years. This dude has no branding, no advertising. It's just a little cart. Our guide was like, "This is the carnitas guy." He's just he's just known as carnitas. Like everyone knows it's just carnitas. And this guy's carnitas was so good. He doesn't even have like sauces or like toppings to go with it. He literally just gives you carnitas on a tortilla. And like the way he makes it is so good. Like it's so moist, it's seasoned. Like that's all you need. And it was like the best carnitas I've ever eaten.
Wow.
And then
That sounds amazing.
just takes us around, got us some like seafood, fish tacos, because it started in the morning. So he got us like the breakfast version, which doesn't even taste like breakfast for us. It's not like there was eggs on it. It's not like a Sonic McDonald's type breakfast burrito. But yeah, just took us around, gave us all these different varieties. And by the end of it, I was full. I was happy. Highly recommend doing a taco tour in Mexico.
Man, I wish I would fit in somewhere like that, dude. You're just known in the community as the carnitas guy. I mean, imagine how many people you've made happy.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
that's better than being like the local like physician in a small town in Kansas.
It
Like,
is.
you're the fucking carnitas guy.
It is.
Like, when someone's like, I just need something to make me feel better, like I just need to be happy for a second, like I'm going to the carnitas guy for
Yeah.
sure.
It's like those jokes, like bars will think it's like a therapist costs this much, but whiskey only costs this, or whatever. Kind of like that. Like you could go to a therapist, you could invest in your mental health, or you could just go to the carnitas guy and he'll take care of you.
Which is honestly quicker, more fun. It's immediate too.
Yeah.
You know, with therapy and stuff, you really got to work at it. But with the carnitas, you just pop that in your mouth.
Instant gratification, dude. It was awesome. Great
Man,
tour.
that's awesome. I want to go to that spot. I feel like that would be a really cool tour to go on. Honestly, at tacos,
It was
just
fun.
eating everything. Now, by the end of it, Steve, like, were you like, all right, I don't know if I can handle another carnitas guy, like,
Yeah.
or
I mean, by the last taco, like I don't even think I finished it. Like because we had so many, we went to so many spots, and like we've talked about tacos are easy, they're small, but after a while it does add up, right? Like it was
oh
like
yeah.
between breakfast and lunchtime, and it was breakfast, brunch, and lunch, and an afternoon snack, like all in one. So yeah.
So after this tour, did you go back to like the carnitas guy like a different day? What?
No, because I think it was kind of toward the end of our time there. But now I know where he's
Okay.
at in kind of the city center of Puerto Vallarta. So Jack, next time we're there together, we'll hit that up.
I still got that. I still got that Chief shirt we got there at Puerto Vallarta, but I think I need to retire that shirt.
I retired mine. It was you couldn't even really see the lettering anymore. Like it was starting to fade. I wore it a lot. So yeah, we'll get you go refresh down there here soon.
Yeah, no, honestly, that is a place when I think about all the places I've been, like I'm obviously going back to that part of the world
Oh yeah,
like soon. Like
yeah,
obviously. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, I'm gonna give my honorable mention to Lake Titicaca in Peru.
Mm. Okay.
Really like this one. I thought it was one of the most interesting tours I've ever been on. And the reason why was because we take a boat, right?
Mm.
Obviously, it's a lake. And we go out there, and this lake is huge. Okay. If you look on the map, this lake is gigantic. It actually spans Bolivia and Peru. So if you're in the lake, there's an opportunity to be in Bolivia for a moment.
Mm.
But what's very interesting about it is there's several different sort of like indigenous communities that live on the lake. They don't live in the town by the lake. They don't live in the mountains by the lake. They live on the lake. And so there's these one, and I'll upload these photos, but there's this one community, right? They live on this island in the lake. It's a pretty big island because this lake is huge. And the way they propose to their wife is they make them a hat. It almost looks like a Santa hat, and they like knit them a hat. And so, and then she wears the hat. And so the way you know if someone's married is that they're wearing the special hat. So it's not the ring, it's the special hat. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I like that way better than a ring. Okay, cool.
yeah, so you kind of make them like a little Smurf hat, and then you have a ceremony and you guys all wear the hat. And so everyone there, they all make their clothes like on the island. So it's like everyone's wearing like almost like looks like grandma just came on the island for a bit and like knitted everyone's clothes and left. Like that's what it like looks like.
I love that. So then like young people who are unmarried, single, like they're hatless.
Yeah, well, they sort of have like a junior hat. Like they still get a hat because in Peru it's kind of cold. Like it's kind of a cold country in my opinion. Like and so they kind of still want a hat. Like
Right, yeah, they can't be completely hatless. It's just not the married one. Okay.
right, it's not the badass hat. You get some sort of like little boy, hey bud kind of hat, you know?
Right, yeah, like you pat them on the head when they're wearing that hat and be like, "Okay, Junior, you sit this one out. The
Yeah,
adults are
one day you'll
talking."
get some. Yeah, so that was just super interesting. Like just to like, just like this is this. I don't know how many people they live on there, but they had different houses and little communities on the island. We walked around the whole thing. It was super interesting to just. It's like it's almost like I would kind of say analogies like Native Americans in America, where it's like they had their own governed area
Yeah.
that was their own thing that was like different from Peru. They have their own language, but it almost felt like camping in Peru's backyard. Like, all right, we're going on this lake and we're actually just never coming back.
Yeah, that is sick. I feel like that's a good place if you want to just get away from it all. Just go join that community and you'll be separated from the rest of the world, just hanging out on a lake forever.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like lake life? Now, you might need to bring some skills to the table. Like, you might want to learn how to knit before you go,
That
because
sounds important.
otherwise, you might be single for a long time if you can't make that hat.
Yeah, like what if you
I don't know if you
really
can outsource it.
Yeah, what if you really like a girl but you can't make the hat? Like can you even marry her? She's going to be like, "Sorry, dude, like you can't make a hat. I'm going to move on."
No, I would honestly, if I were her, I would move on. It's just like, can you provide for me? Right?
Right.
Can you be there for me? Can you, you know, how can I expect you to build a log cabin if you can't make a hat?
Damn, that's a really good point. Yeah, there's a deeper meaning behind the hat. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, this wasn't even the weirdest group of people. No offense intended, okay? But it was a little bit odd being on that island. There's this other group of people, and they don't live on land. They took like reeds and like put them together to make like this like reed man-made island floating thing.
Okay.
Okay? So they live on like it almost felt like the grass like in the middle of Kansas, like the really thick like bluegrass or
Yeah.
whatever type
Yeah.
thing. but like kind of mushy because it's like on an island, but they just like packed it all together to make this like floating island thing. And then they made like little houses like you would think about with the big bad wolf, you know, like they made the houses that would get blown down by the big bad wolf. Like they were all like straw
Yep.
houses basically.
Yeah, there was like straw and then like sticks and then like bricks, I think was
Great.
yeah, okay.
So they were the straw people, and they were. I mean, but the thing is, they're floating on an island, so I don't think the big bad wolf could actually get to them anyway. So I don't think it really matters. They probably took that into account.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, still wolf proof.
But yeah, exactly. But it was really cool to like, and they let us put on their traditional clothes and stuff and take a photo. It was really funny. So they also have their own government, right? The thing is, right, it's like a co-op, right? You kind of come together to build the big, essentially piece of land that you're all going to live on, right?
Yeah.
But let's say, Steve, something happens, man. You like, you steal someone's chicken or something like that, right? Your punishment is that they cut you out of the man-made island. So you basically, your little piece gets like cut off from like everyone else's little piece.
Wow. Okay. Just literally, they literally cut you out. Okay.
Yeah, they're like, look, like, you know what, you're an asshole. Like, we can't, like, we're not gonna put you in prison, but you're just like not like that. You can go float out there.
Oh my God, that is awesome, dude. That's even better than prison. These people are brilliant, honestly. I love this.
Right, because it almost like attaches a stigma to you. So imagine you're out there floating and it's just like you and your own little small island, right? So what do? I mean, do you go like the Australia way? Do you try to get everyone together who was a former criminal and you make your own island? But then do you really want to live with all these criminals, you know? But then it's like, well, you got to convince one of these other bigger islands, be like, look, man, I'm reformed. Like, please let me come in, like, attach me. Like, I will get the straw, I'll do extra work, like, but I want to be part of a community again, right? Like, they got to figure something out.
Yeah, yeah. What better way to like think about your life than when you're on your own tiny little island in isolation? That's when you really figure some shit out.
Yeah, like your own tiny little man-made island
Yeah.
that I feel like could just literally get walloped at any moment.
Wow. Okay. I love these people. I want to check this out for sure.
And the water's cold, so it's like, don't fall in.
Got it. Wow.
And Steve, my last thing about this, sorry, I know I rambled a lot.
No, this is good. This is great stuff.
My last thing, I got my most favorite passport stamp. Okay?
Okay.
They give you a stamp for going on this tour in your passport, which is kind of gimmicky. It's all good. And it's the highest navigatable lake in the world. I don't exactly know what that means, but that's what they say. Highest elevation.
Yeah, what does navigatable mean?
I don't know. Does that mean highest that you can put a boat on?
Yeah, maybe.
Lake Titicaca. It's at 12,500 feet above sea level. It's the highest but also largest lake in South America.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, that is pretty freaking high. I mean, that's like the mountains in Colorado.
Yeah. So it's one of less than 20 ancient lakes on Earth. And it's thought to be 3 million years old.
So it's high, it's big, and it's old.
And it's got a lot of weird people on it.
Were the people nice at least? Like, were they chill?
Yeah. I feel like they really loved having us.
Did they speak any Spanish or English or?
They spoke some Spanish, yeah.
That's cool.
But like not like they had their own language and stuff, right? So yeah, so that should have been maybe my number one, but
yeah, we're not really going in order. We're just saying some favorites and whatever.
Yeah.
So it's informal.
Yeah.
Okay. My next one, this is a little bit recency bias because it was last year, so it's fresh in my mind. And this was the Douro Valley wine tour, so outside of Porto, Portugal. And this area was just beautiful. And the tour was really well done. We had an awesome guide who looked like Jesus. So he just kept making jokes about how he looks like Jesus and stuff. And they just took us to a bunch of different vineyards. We got to try different types of wine, port wine, green wine, which they have in Portugal.
What's green wine? How does that happen?
It's not actually green. It just means it's young, right? Like green can mean young or inexperienced. So it's just like a younger grape. So that's why
below
they,
the drinking age, you could
yeah,
say.
yeah. So this green wine can't even drink itself. It's not old enough, but yeah. So yeah, it was just a beautiful tour, really well done. They gave us a really good lunch, and we got to tour some vineyards and just drink a shit ton of wine. So that was fun, and yeah, definitely a good tour. That's all I got to say about that one.
That sounds exciting. So, what did you like port wine by the end of it? I've had port wine a few times. I didn't like love it because I feel like it's like a dessert thing. But did they just have some
It was
awesome
really
port wine?
good for sure. Still, like, I'm still not like a big port wine guy. I'd rather just have normal red wine, but it did help me
Hmm.
appreciate it more than I did before, for sure.
Okay, nice. Because I feel like that's a pretty famous spot. The Douro. That's like a famous
Yeah, it's one of
area.
those things like you can't call it port wine unless it comes from that area, right?
Okay.
So if otherwise you'll have to call it like sweet wine or dessert wine, but you're not allowed to call it port wine, which by the way is not. And I might have said this on an earlier episode talking about Porto, so I apologize, but port wine is not named after Porto or Portugal. Yeah, I guess it's called that because they had some deal with England or whatever. They literally would send the wine like, and it would come in through a port like to England. And so like the English called it port wine, even though it did come from
Be-
Portugal, but that's not what the port means.
okay. So basically, like it's just like imported wine or the wine they wanted to export. I wonder if they made it super sweet so it like preserved or something.
It's sweeter, more alcohol content. So it does last longer when you're shipping it. And so that's kind of how it started. But yeah,
Wow, okay. Those are always really fun tours. You get hammered off great wine. What a great way. You get shuttled around. You
yeah.
pretend like, oh man, this one tastes really good. I can hardly stand. Oh, I'm like 20 glasses deep, but like I really appreciate the tannins in this one.
Even by the end of it, like on the bus, we met these Dutch kids and we all just bought a bunch of wine to go from the last winery. And so we were just drinking it in the back of the bus, just like being obnoxious. Like the old people on the tour on the same bus probably hated us. But speaking of Dutch people, that was another one of my honorable mentions was,
Okay.
and I've done this tour a couple times now, a couple different times. Every time I go to Amsterdam, I'll do a canal tour. And
Uh,
that's just one of my favorite tours in the world. It's always a good experience. It's usually like an all inclusive drinking and eating thing.
ooh.
And so, again, if you're drinking on a tour, that always helps. But yeah, they'll just give you unlimited drinks, food, like on a cool boat. And you're just looking, I just think Amsterdam's so beautiful, like just looking around at all the architecture. Amsterdam just has good vibes. The guides are usually awesome, speak good English, all that. So that's another tour that I highly recommend. I've done it multiple times, never had a bad experience.
I feel like that's saying something, going on a tour multiple times. I don't think I've ever done that. Usually when I'm done with a tour, I'm like, all right, like I really had a good time, but I'm done. But that sounds cool if it was like that good. Maybe also the convenience helps. Like you're in the city, like you don't have to go anywhere really.
Instead of going to a bar and having a drink, you're just like on a boat looking at beautiful stuff and having a drink there instead. So it's a good way to do it.
Nice. Okay, that I gotta actually do that one. I feel like I would really like that.
Yeah. So yeah, any other honorable mentions for you before we get into our least favorites?
No, I'm good. I went off.
All
I
right.
had my fill.
Well, kick us off. What do you got least favorite wise?
My least favorite tour,
Yeah. Or just like a maybe a bad one or something.
man. I don't know how to. I had this one tour that I feel like I'm gonna say is one of my least favorite tours, but I feel like everyone's gonna like. I feel like I'm gonna be ostracized for saying this.
Hey man, it's your
Like I'm
experience if you know, and you can defend it and be like this is why, maybe other people had a different experience, but it's about you right now.
okay. Well, we're going to Peru again.
Okay.
One of my tours that I didn't have that much fun on is how I'd like to preface it.
Mhm.
Okay, is the Rainbow Mountain Tour.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
so if people are unfamiliar with Rainbow Mountain is this mountain in Peru, and it's called Rainbow Mountain because the top of the mountain used to be frozen and covered in snow 24, 365. And then what happened was global warming happened, and basically you can see the top of the mountain now. And what you see on the top of the mountain is like this like sort of like array of different colors due to the different minerals that are present on the mountain, and it sort of like makes like a rainbow, and that's like why it's called Rainbow Mountain. And what's interesting is that the reason why it was always sort of frozen over was because it's actually at like 16,000 feet, so it's even higher than
Titicaca.
in the Andes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even higher than Colorado, 14ers,
Yeah.
and everything like that. It's super high. Anyway, the reason why I didn't love it was because you had to wake up at like 3 a.m. It was one of those tours. You wake up at 3 a.m. You got like a 4.5 hour bus ride. After all of that, then you also have to hike in an incredibly strenuous hike to get up to this mountain. Like where like they're offering like, horses and stuff to take you up, but it's so high up, right? So you buy the horse. This is the most hilarious part. You buy the horse and you're thinking, all right, I got this. I didn't do this. I hiked the whole way. But these people, they get the horse or whatever. They're like, okay, this is going to be good. I got the easy stretch. Then it gets so high in elevation, you actually have to get off the horse and finish the hike yourself at the part that actually sucks. Okay?
Okay.
So like the horse will take you to like, I don't know, I'm making it up, like 14,000 feet. Essentially, there's this part where it's sort of like a gradual but steep hike, and then all of a sudden it gets like super steep. And in that super steep spot, you have to do it yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So the horse just ditches you, and you're like, yeah, you're on
Yeah,
your
the horse is
own.
like, yeah, after you like paid for it to take you to like the easy part where you could have just walked, and you kind of look lazy because all these people are around you, like literally walking right beside you. You know what I'm saying? And then they get the shock on their face when they're told to get off the horse, and then now they got to hike up this crazy huge mountain is hilarious. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, so you do the strenuous hike, you get up there, and it looks cool. It's definitely like a cool view and everything, but it's not like that cool. Like the Rainbow Mountain, the colors, if you look up Rainbow Mountain on Google, it's going to look like, oh my God, is that bright color of pink?
Mhm.
It's not that color.
Dude,
It's like
yes.
they turn the saturation up so hard on this. It's like it's faded. It's like a Rainbow Mountain of like matte colors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've heard about this. Like on the internet, it's like pink, green, blue, purple, right? Like yeah, they turn up the saturation. Like people edit the photos to make it look like a real rainbow, but then when you see it in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
person, it's just like dark gray, brown, or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this isn't even like it's not like it doesn't look like that, and
Yeah.
it's still cool, but it's like I woke up at 3 a.m., had to do this huge hike, and now I basically just got to go back in the car and I got to just deal with another 4 hours of driving, you
Yeah,
know.
it's just one of those things that's not worth it. Like if if you would have had like a helicopter or even a horse just like take you all the way up and it was really easy, like yeah, it'd probably be worth it. Like okay, this is cool. But the fact that you had to do all that shit to get there, it's just like it makes it a lot less of a payoff, I guess.
Yeah, and then you feel bad for multiple reasons. First of all, you feel bad this whole tour is basically because we're destroying the earth. We should never know about Rainbow Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah.
It should be covered. It should be under ice. It should not be a tour, right?
Yeah.
And then what do we do, right? Once this catastrophe happens and we see Rainbow Mountain, they're like, all right, well, now we're going to set up a tour. We're just going to get everyone up here now. Like, I mean, I guess they're making lemonade out of lemons. Yeah. So that was kind of my experience with that tour. It was fine, and I feel bad for the tour guides who have to do that tour. I just couldn't imagine going. It's because it's one of those where you come back and it's dark. You start and it's dark. And then I'm thinking about this guy's gonna do this again the next day. Holy shit! I feel so bad for him. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
So it's like an all day thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. We'll get into that when we do our tour tips about length of tours. That's something I have some takes on as well. But
Okay, well, that's the only thing. I mean, I want to say I'm not complaining. I'm really glad I went there. I got this cool picture of me like chugging a beer at like 17,000 feet. Like that's chill. Like all my bros love that pic. You know, it's
Yeah.
fine.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, hey, we realize that we're super privileged that we're able to even travel and do these things at all. So we're not like complaining that
Yeah.
much. Like we're still lucky to be able to do these things and even have the negative experiences. So we'll just say
Right.
that.
Yeah. That's literally it.
All right, I'll give you
Anyway, all
my
right, Steve.
yeah, I'll give you my
Yeah, let's hear.
worst. You know, Jack, this is one of your favorite countries, but
Uh-oh.
probably a different place than like completely different side of the island. And I'm talking about the Dominican Republic. Okay, I did a
Woo!
tour of Santo Domingo, the capital city,
Okay.
because it actually is. It's like the oldest place in the Americas. Like it's the first place that Columbus discovered, right? Like the first place he landed
Yep.
in the New World, so to speak.
Yep.
So
1492 type shit.
1492 type shit. So like the old town, like the historic old town of Santo Domingo is it's really cool. Like lots of old colonial buildings and it's cool. So we wanted to take a tour of this. And I'm not even knocking Santo Domingo as a city. Like the old town was beautiful. It was really just the tour we did was shitty. Okay.
Okay.
So it's like we get on a shitty crowded bus. Like it's just kind of a not a nice bus, right? And there's just like all these errors in the beginning. It's just like we stop for like 45 minutes. We don't even know why. They're picking people up, like they're just driving around. They stop at like a gas station. We're like, what are we doing? Then we change buses at one point. And this is all before we even get on like the real tour. I don't know. It was just kind of a long process. It felt like it wasn't very smooth or planned well.
Okay.
And then, we go, and then it's like all the stops on the tour, like most of the stops were at like tourist shops. It's like the tour had deals, with these gift shops, and they're like, okay, this stop on the tour is a gift shop. You can go buy some stupid shit, and like I never buy anything from those places anyway. Not my vibe. And they would stop there for like an hour. And so like, yeah, we'd go look in the gift shop for 5 minutes, and then it's like we would go wander off on our own. They'd be like, okay, meet back here in an hour. So we would almost like do the tour ourselves, go walk around and look at stuff outside the gift shop, right?
Yeah.
And
Wait, that's the worst thing ever. Like, I don't want to stop at a gift shop.
it sucked, yeah. Or we'd stop at another thing, like a church, and like they'd be like, okay, we're gonna hand you off to this guy who works at the church, and he would tell us about the church, and then he'd be like, all right, give me a tip. I'm like, wait, now I gotta pay this guy? Like this wasn't even I thought my tour, like that's what I'm paying for. Now you're making me pay like other people. Yeah.
What if that's just like his friend? Like he wasn't even like part of the tour. They're like, all right, we just split this money.
It felt like that sometimes, right? Like all of his homies were just like, hey, yeah, just dump the tourists off at my at my spot. So
See, this
yeah.
situation makes you feel like it makes me feel like like I understand I am a tourist, but you make me feel like a real like you just make me feel so touristy.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. I don't like
you
you
know?
feeling like you're being taken advantage of. Like
Yeah.
I get that I'm a tourist, but yeah, you don't need to kick me while I'm down. So
Yeah.
so here's the
Yeah.
worst part. And again, this is a personal thing that happened, so I can't even really blame the tour or anything on this, but this just really capped it off.
Okay.
So it's a long bus ride back, and there's a woman right behind us on the bus. There's like a 2-hour bus ride, and she's just coughing like crazy, okay, the whole time. And her husband was like a smoker, like he was ripping cigs the whole tour, not on the
Okay.
bus, but like whenever we would stop. So we're like, maybe they're just coughing because they smoke, they're smokers. But this was like during COVID times, so we did think, we're like, I hope this lady doesn't have COVID. She's just
Wow.
coughing on us, just like right in our backs, or just coughing.
Uh
And sure enough, like the next day, we feel like shit. We test ourselves, boom, positive for COVID. So not only did this tour kind of suck, but it also gave us COVID. So that was unfortunate.
Whoa, so you just like knew you're like, all right, this lady's giving me This
Yeah.
lady's getting me. You're coughing like you're sick coughing. You're not sick coughing.
Yeah, exactly. And the bus was full. We couldn't even move to other seats, so we just had to sit there and take it for 2 hours. No masks,
Damn.
no nothing. Yeah, so
She didn't
carry
try to
turn.
cover up her mouth. Like
She
zero
she
awareness.
she might have, but it's just like when you're on a bus enclosed like that, like you can't really escape the germs, right? I mean, if we learned anything
Yeah.
from COVID, it's pretty easy to spread that shit.
Damn, that sucks. I would hate that, honestly. That would be super annoying.
So,
Steve, you know what it reminds me of though is when me and you and we got a group of us and we're sitting watching, I think it was like Chiefs Steelers
yeah.
in Mexico,
Yeah.
in Sayulita. And our friend comes up to us and he sits down at the table and he just goes, "We all got COVID." Do you remember that?
No, wait. I don't remember the COVID part.
When we're all sitting at the bar, like it's that one like sports bar.
Yeah.
We're just like having drinks and stuff, and then that guy Tyler comes back and he's like, "Hey," because he was like feeling sick for days, and then he comes back and he goes, "Yeah, we all got COVID," and we're all just like sitting there in like a packed bar, like all around each other, like drinking beers, like no masks, and we're just like, "Oh, okay,
Damn
well,"
it.
and we just continued.
Yeah. Well, it's like, all right, well, nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah. We need to do a COVID travel episode. I feel like a COVID would be actually like a good talking a lot about COVID. Like I
That's
feel
a
like could be good
really
because
good idea. Yeah.
it is a unique experience.
Yeah. I like that idea. All right. So that's our personal experiences. All right. So, one thing I just want to talk about, because this has been on my mind a lot recently,
Yeah.
just because we're talking about tourism. I was thinking like about this whole tourist versus traveler thing. And when I
Hmm.
first started nomading, I was really big on this. I was like, I'm going to be a traveler, not a tourist, right? Like, I hated the word tourist.
Right.
I used to think I was so cool telling locals that I'm a digital nomad. So, like, they would know I'm not a tourist. But after years of doing this, I realized like they don't give a shit. Like they don't know the difference. If I'm in Latin America and I say I'm a digital nomad, they're just like, okay, you're still just like a gringo, from the US. Like it makes no it makes no difference to they don't think I'm better just because like I'm there for a month or two instead of a week. I don't know.
Right.
I've just been thinking about that. And now like some cities even hate digital nomads more than they hate tourists. So I don't know. I've just been thinking a lot about that recently. And I think there are still ways to be a good traveler instead of being like a shitty tourist, right? Just we've talked about before, just like being respectful and, getting more into the culture and not just being an idiot. But yeah, I used to like be obsessed with that, like be a traveler, not a tourist. But I still think you should act that way. Like you should be a good traveler, but like I don't know, I just don't say it anymore as much like I used to because yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you're still buying the $8 matcha latte, whether you're here for a month or a week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's probably all they see.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
I think as long as you're just not like a yeah, that is interesting. Like, I wonder if Spain, going back to one of our previous
Hmm.
episodes, do they hate nomads or tourists more? I almost think they probably hate nomads more, like what you were saying, because their housing goes up way. Like, all these people are like, no, I'm loving Spain. I'm staying here.
Yeah. Yeah, they just don't know the term digital nomad. If they knew it, they probably would blame us more. Like they say tourists go home. Like that's all that they know. But yeah, other
Okay.
cities like Mexico City, Cape Town, we've talked about, like they're very in tune with the digital nomad term, and so they blame digital nomads. But again, it's all the same, right? It's just foreign visitors, right? Like, yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. I could see why you would like a tourist more, maybe because short term, you're spending a lot of money in a week. You're not taking anyone's housing.
true.
You're in and out. You
Yeah,
hit the bus tour, you get COVID, you leave.
yeah, yeah. But anyway,
But
I've just
then,
been thinking a lot
yeah,
about that recently. But now I'm like okay with just saying I'm a tourist. Like I don't need to tell people I'm a nomad. Like whatever, it makes no difference. They know I'm foreign. It's all good. But
Another slight change I've made, which I feel like is along the same lines, is like instead of saying like, "Oh, I lived there for a couple months," I just say I spent some time there.
Yeah, I know when we first started this, we were all about saying like, "Oh, let's say that we live there," like that's such a yeah, I don't even say that. I don't say that anymore cuz yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't really. I mean, I did spend a much longer time there than the average tourist, but I didn't have to deal with any real problems that those people actually dealt with when I was there, right?
Exactly. My living was different than what a real like local native person's living situation is. So yeah, I don't say that anymore either.
But that's okay. We're growing up, we're evolving. I wonder what the Zoomers think about traveling. Like, do they want to travel, or are they like they're like we have TikTok, like we can travel whenever we want.
Yeah, yeah, our phone is traveling. I just look at videos and it's like I'm there. I don't know.
Yeah, the videos are so immersive these days.
All right, let's get into our Nomad hacks. We got some tips for touring when you're traveling. I guess first thing we'll start off with is, when you're going to pick a tour, this is the pre-tour. I think it's best to know what kind of experience you want, right? There's different things you can do. Do you like history? Do you like food? Like a taco tour, adventurous stuff like Rainbow Mountain. There's some niche and weird tours. But one thing I think is important is to be honest about your energy level. Okay. Don't book a
Wow.
10-hour tour if you're hungover from the bar crawl the night before, right? That's
Yeah.
one thing I've learned. Like long tours, I kind of just hate because there's even if it's a good tour, if it's 10 hours long, like by the end of it, I'm like, okay, I'm over this. So now I'll look, if I'm booking a tour online, I look at how long it's gonna be because I can't do a 10-hour tour. Now I'm like 5 hours max. 1 or 2 hours is ideal.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't want to be bussed for 3 hours for a 2 hour tour. If the
Yeah.
travel is longer than the tour, I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just like you're throwing away your whole day, and that kind of sucks. So,
Yeah.
but let's talk about using like some apps and some platforms. Jack, I know you're a pretty big GuruWalk guy, so maybe you can tell us about that.
Yeah, I know we've talked a little bit about this on previous episodes, so I won't say a ton, but I really like GuruWalk because it's sort of like Uber or more like locals give you tours rather than sort of like more established companies giving you tours, like maybe some guy who's really passionate about some particular food or part of their city or, history part of their city. He takes it. I feel like he kind of puts a little bit more effort into it because it's just him and he's working for only tips, he doesn't get a flat fee in the beginning. So he really wants you to have a good time, and it just feels a little bit more personal. You sign up on the app, you can kind of look, okay, Jose is going to give me a tour. He's lived here his whole life and he really loves the food. Okay, this is probably going to be legitimately awesome. Rather than, I feel like some tours, like Steve, you were saying earlier, right? Maybe they got a deal with a restaurant or they got a deal, we'll bring in 100 people a day if you cook all the food for them to be ready, and that's an okay experience, but going to like a place where people actually go, or having also just like a much smaller group, one or two people, three or four people, allows you to do things and activities that maybe you wouldn't be able to do with like a 20, 30 giant,
Yeah.
big bus of people. It makes it feel more intimate.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. And definitely different than like the corporate apps that I'll talk about next. I think what you do is more personalized for sure.
All right, Steve, let's hear it.
So the corporate apps are like Get Your Guide, Viator. Now these are big platforms that aggregate a ton of tours. But there's different types. There's small groups, there's private tours, and you can filter the heck out of these. You can filter by rating, length, like we said, price. So it's definitely a good way to find tours. But a couple tips here: don't always book through them. Kind of like we've talked about, even with like Airbnb, you can always just find like the property management company through Airbnb. So it's like this: you could find the tour through Viator and then just Google that same tour name and you can book directly through them. to save some money because you're not paying extra because Viator and Get Your Guide kind of skim off the top. So that's one way to do it. But also, Viator, I noticed, now gives you kickbacks. So like we just bought a pretty expensive tour that we booked in Argentina this weekend, like a wine tour.
Okay.
And in our Viator account now, they're like, okay, you just got $22 to use toward your next tour on Viator. So they're kind of thinking, I think they realize that people just can book off the app. So now they're like, okay, well, here's $22 so you keep your business with us. So I don't know. You can weigh the pros and cons of like going direct, but if you get the money back from Viator, it's not a bad deal.
Maybe they're kind of noticing that's what's happening and they're
Yeah,
trying to get those people back. Now, see, this is super interesting to me for one reason is I always thought it was Viator, but Viator sounds better. Like I've always kind of wondered how it was pronounced,
I'm still
and
not sure.
I'll, okay, yeah, I mean, I like Viator. That sounds good.
I think I heard it on an ad, like on a podcast for Viator, and now but I think I always said V8 or something before.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like Via, like yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know if that's even an English word.
Doesn't seem like it. What about Airbnb experiences? Have you done that, Jack?
I've never done one. Have you?
I think I have. And it is cool because there's usually some more unique and like niche type of things on there than you might get on Viator.
Mm,
Just like make tacos with grandma, or like a graffiti artist walk, that type of thing.
mm-hmm.
Some of them might be more expensive than you'll find elsewhere, but yeah, a lot of them can be, personal and creative as well. Because I feel like a lot of it is done by like the person themselves, like the guide themselves is putting it on Airbnb experiences. So that's another walk or another route you could go.
Okay, I would try it.
And then
I would
this
do something like that.
this one's kind of old school, but it's the free walking tours. And this is kind of like what
Okay.
GuruWalk is. Like GuruWalk just found a smarter way to find these guys. But I remember like Jack, when we first studied abroad in Europe, like we would go every time we'd go to a new city, we would just find the free walking tour.
Yeah.
You could Google it or just like walking around the city center, you can usually find those.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you have to say about free walking tours?
Yeah, no, I'm super down because they're kind of low commitment. It's a great way to kind of get your bearings if you're in the new city the first time. I mean, usually one of the first things I like to do when I get to a
Yeah,
new
me
city is
too.
kind of walk around and check it out. So, I mean, having something like this feels like a very good thing. This is a kind of the tour I would try to get done in the beginning of my stay.
Yeah, I agree. And then you kind of got a good background on where you're at, and then you can expand from there. But of course, these aren't really free. I mean, they are technically free tours, but they are tip based. So you're expected to tip at the end of the tour. Always good to kind of look up. I'll usually look up on the internet like how much, that city, how much you're kind of supposed to tip. But, usually maybe $10, $20, depending on how happy you were with the tour. That's kind of how
Right.
that works.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah, good thing about using these apps and stuff is you can look at the reviews and see if it's a good tour or not. I like to look at recent reviews, not just the overall star rating. Like, okay, what have you done for me lately? Okay, like what I don't care about this person in 2015, how their experience was. Like what is it like right now? Look for the names of guides. If you see the same name mentioned multiple times, that could be a good sign. Look for some keywords, like if it's a rush tour, if it's too touristy, like my Santo Domingo thing, or if it's like hard to hear the guide, or if they don't speak English. Like these are things that you should know.
Right, because the no English thing one could be a deal breaker. I had that happen to me one time. I booked this Guru Walk one. It was in Swedish. With tough.
That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and then, don't be afraid to book the weird tours. Sometimes the best stories can come from niche weird tours. Like I did a ghost tour when I was in New Orleans, and that was one of the best tours I've ever been on. It was super fun. Like, don't be afraid to take some risks, do a muddy volcano hike, shit like that.
Steve, I think this might be the best tip you've got on here. I love this one. Honestly, I don't think I do this. Like, I think I need to start
Yeah.
taking this one to heart. Like, because I think this is a great idea. Honestly,
Yeah, after you do the free walking tour, you get the basics. Then you go do the weird thing, go tour the dollhouse. I did like a communism tour when I was in Albania and just like learned about all this weird communist shit. You can learn some interesting facts.
I did an interesting one. Like, I was in Armenia, and we did like this cool like old Christian one, which was interesting.
Old Christians are the best, that they really like that they like saw some shit.
They also did some shit. They're not innocent, that's for sure. But like, yeah, it is cool. This is a great. I think this is a great tip. I think this is something people should always do, honestly. And really, Steve, I mean, if you think about it, this is kind of goes back to our podcast slogan.
Take a weird trip.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of. I mean, this is it.
Take a weird
This is
tour.
what. Yeah, this is what we're here
That's what
for.
we're all about.
Honestly, yeah. So, and this is cooler, right? Like, I'd rather go on a ghost tour than like a tarot card tour, you know?
True. Yeah, I'm
Like
with you.
I'm kind of over the American weird ones. I need some new stuff. I don't want to hear about horoscopes. I want to hear about communism.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, at least communism, like we know, is real. We don't know. Horoscopes are still up for debate at this point. So,
Yeah, they are. For me, they're always going to be up for debate.
but yeah, what other tips do we got? Like, there's timing, there's group size, right? Look for smaller groups. Private tours are good, but they can be more expensive. I think smaller groups, max 10 to 12 people. Maybe you're not on a giant bus, but like a smaller van, I think that can be a better experience.
I think it's so good because I've been on a few tours where like we became friends because of that tour.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and I just feel like
You
the
know?
bigger ones you don't make the friends, but yeah, the smaller ones you actually meet the people around you.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that makes it 1,000 times better.
Yeah. Morning tours often have fewer crowds and better lighting for pics. If you're in the afternoon, you'll get
Oh,
backlit pictures. So that's something to think about. And then, sometimes in the middle of the day, if you're somewhere hot, it can be really hot to do a tour. So, think about the weather as well. Yeah, I don't know. What other tips we got?
yeah. And once you get the morning tour, you're kind of done, right? Then you can go to the carnitas guy. You're fine. You did your thing for the day.
It's a good way to wake up early and yeah, you did something, and then it's like you still got a lot of the day ahead of you. And you're waking up for a reason. You're not just sleeping in. You're like, okay, I got something to do. So you wake up and do it.
Yeah, it's like the nomad equivalent of working out in the morning,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, these are great. I think I still love the weird one the best. I think that's my favorite one.
All right, dude. Well, I'll expect you to do that next time.
Maybe we need to bring to the table our weirdest tours we've ever been on. Maybe that should have been another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll think of that. We'll report back on that.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it for us.
That's it.
Thanks everyone for listening. Hit us up on social media, ask us questions, hang out with us virtually. Yeah, that's all we got for today.
Hell yeah. And also, this time we mean it even more. Take a weird trip.